You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
Thanks for taking my question. So the head of Minnesota's investigations agency says that the U.S. Attorney's Office has essentially cut off the state investigations agency's access to the investigation. What is the precedent for that, and why shouldn't the Minnesota officials on the ground have access and evidence to work on this investigation?
First of all, I wish the state officials in Minnesota would investigate why you have so many people who are using their vehicles and other means to actually interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation. The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. The idea that Tim Walz and a bunch of radicals in Minneapolis are going to go after and make this guy's life miserable because he was doing the job that he was asked to do is preposterous. The unprecedented thing is the idea that a local official can actually prosecute a federal official with absolute immunity. I've never seen anything like that. It would get tossed out by a judge. So what I'd like Minnesota to focus on is the real issue that they're encouraging people. Minneapolis officials are encouraging people to commit violence against ICE officials. It's ridiculous. It's got to stop. Go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you. You said earlier that there's a left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and make it impossible for ICE officers to do their job. You told my colleague just now that there's an investigation going on into that network.
Yep.
So if everything that you say is true, how does being part of that network justify being shot?
Well, being part of the network doesn't justify being shot, but ramming an ICE officer with your car, that's what justifies being shot. It's not a good thing, by the way, but when you force somebody to engage in self-defense, it's almost a preposterous question. I'm not saying that funding some of this stuff justifies capital punishment. Nobody would suggest that. The reason this woman is dead is because she tried to ram somebody with her car and that guy acted in self-defense. That is why she lost her life, and that is the tragedy. Now, there may be other violations of the law and other penalties that are associated with those violations of the law. For example, if you are funding violence against our law enforcement officers, I'm not a prosecutor. My guess is that's not the sort of thing that earns capital punishment, but it should sure as hell earn you a few years in prison if you're funding the effort to try to assault our law enforcement officers. What is, I'm sorry guys, what's going on here? You guys are meant to report the truth. How have you let yourself become agents of propaganda of a radical fringe that's making it harder for us to enforce our laws? You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
The investigation is still ongoing.
I said next question.
Mr. Vice President, I mean, you presumably watched the video yourself. There's not the slightest doubt in your mind, having viewed it, that the victim, you still believe that she deliberately tried to ram him despite seeing this video?
Look, I don't know what is in a person's heart or in a person's head, and obviously we're not going to get the chance to ask this woman what was going on. What I am certain of is that she violated the law. What I am certain of is that that officer had every reason to think that he was under very serious threat for injury or in fact, his life. What I'm certain of is that she accelerated in a way where she ran into the guy. I don't know what was in her heart and what was in her head, but I know that she violated the law, and I know that officer was acting in self-defense. It raises an interesting point, though. Look, if people want to say that we should have a legitimate debate about, you know, what was she really doing, right? Was she panicking when she drove into this officer, or was she actually trying to ram him? That's a reasonable conversation. What's not reasonable is for so many of you to plaster all over the media that this was an innocent woman and that the ICE agent committed murder, which is what many of you have said explicitly and some of you have said implicitly. That's what I have an objection to.
I mean, to see a woman get shot in the face like that, and just to see like our officials try to like justify it as far as like she was trying to hit that man, you know what I mean? Everybody's like lost on what's going on. Nobody wants to get like grabbed by these people. It's going to get worse, you know what I mean? I think this is like the people out here protesting is the best thing, like to show that we're not going to stand for this that's going on. Like I said, I just see it getting worse. She's American. It's our right to protest. I don't think she did anything to get shot in the face. I don't even think she did anything to get arrested. These guys are untrained and don't know what they're doing.
Used to criminalize, infiltrate, and break you for resisting. And what happened to Renee shows us the exact price they are willing to enact. This chant, we cannot just hold vigils. Strongly worded letters and impotent action from politicians does not stop bullets.
That's right.
That's right. To Renee's family and loved ones, we see you, we mourn with you, and we will not just say her name. We will organize in her name. We will stand guard in her name. Justice for Renee Nicole Good, not one more life.
And we stand in solidarity with you because we know our neighborhoods.
That's right.
Out here today in New York City and across the country in the thousands to fight back against this vicious murder of one of our brothers or sisters in Minneapolis through ICE's terror. And what we're out here for today is a matter of saying this anger against ICE is something that needs to be channeled in fighting to abolish ICE.
I don't know, it's just heartbreaking that, you know, people are being shot by ICE. Like, it's just, I don't know, I don't have the words really for it, but except like heartbreak and anger.
No peace! No peace! No peace! No peace! No peace!
Share, like, and comment. Subscribe, 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 share, like, and comment.